Today, our group will present material about the adjective already given by Ms. Setia Aryani as Director of Grammar. Our own group consists of 4 people. First, it's me, Amanda Mutia, as moderator, Nur Azmi Rufaida, Nur Indah Febriyanti, and Melandri Kombong Kila, who will read the material today. The first adjective, the definitions of adjectives, and the degree of comparison will be presented by Nur Azmi Rufaida.
Definitions. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, an adjective is defined as a word that describes a noun or pronoun. The Collins Dictionary gives a more elaborate definition. According to it, an adjective is a word such as big, that, or financial that describes a person or thing, or gives extra information about them. Adjectives usually come before nouns or after linked verbs. The Oxford Learners Dictionary defines an adjective as a word that describes a person or thing. For example, big, red, and clever. In a big house, red wine, and a clever idea. An adjective is a word belonging to one of the major form classes in any of numerous languages and typically serving as a modifier of a noun to denote a quality of the thing named, to indicate its quantity or extent, or to specify a thing as distinct from something else, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Next. Degrees of comparison. Did you know that adjectives can be used to compare similar qualities of different subjects that perform the same action? There are 3 forms of adjective, or rather 3 degrees of comparison. First, positive degree of comparison. The positive form of or the positive degree of comparison is the form of the adjective used in the original form. For example, this book is interesting. This form of adjective is used when there are no other subject to be compared. Comparative degree of comparison. The comparative form of the adjective is used when two subjects performing the same action or possessing the same quality are compared. For example, the book I read yesterday was more interesting than the one I read today. The superlative degree of comparison. The superlative degree of comparison is used when comparing the same quality of 2 or more subjects and to represent that a subject is superior to 2 or more subjects in performing an action. For example, this fantasy novel is the most interesting book that I have ever read.
The next slide will be represented by Nur Indah Febriyanti.
Okay, this example of adjective. If you are wondering what part of speech a color or a number belongs to, don't waste any more time thinking about it. All colors and numbers are classified as adjective. Adjectives are words that modify nouns, but in most cases, they can be seen to be doing much more than that. Given below are the various ways in which adjective can function and be used. The first one is adjective as complements. Adjective complements that modify nouns that act as subject and objects. When the adjective describes the object in a sentence, it is called an object complement, and when it used to describe the subject in a sentence, it is referred to a subject complement. They are seen to be used in sentences which are seen to use the following. The example is a run is good. In the above example, the adjective is good and it is used to describe the subject around, and so it is called a subject complement. And then the movie made Karthik sleepy. Here, the adjective sleepy describes the object Karthik and so comes under the category of object complements. And then the next one is example of adjective is adjective as coordinates. When two or more adjectives are used to describe the same noun in a sentence, they are called coordinate adjective. Coordinate adjectives are often separated by comma or the conjunction and. For example, the mobile phone is easy and use the mobile phone is easy to use and handy. My cousin is tall and thin. Her personality are tall, active, and easygoing. The last one is multifunctional adjectives. Adjective can be made to function like or take the role of nouns in a sentence, and sometimes a noun, when used to describe or provide more information about another noun, can perform the role of an adjective. For example, I like my English teacher. In the above example, the word English is generally considered a noun as it represents a language and it is a proper noun, but here it is used to describe the noun teacher, which makes it an adjective. It is our duty to tend to the poor and the oppressed. In the sentence, the word the poor and the oppressed pass off as noun as it refers to poor people and oppressed people, so when adjectives are preceded by the article the, it often refers to a category of people which makes the adjective a noun.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Ida.
thanks.
For the last slide will be presented by Andri.
How to use an adjective in a sentence. Adjectives are known to give your writing and speech a very flowery look. It aids in making it descriptive and also in giving your readers and listeners a visual treat. However, stuffing it with too many adjectives can make it look or sound vague and unclear. This would only lead to misunderstanding of your content. Knowing when, where, and how to use adjectives is a skill that you should master. Any piece of writing should be clear and precise. Find out if there is a word that specifically means whatever you are trying to convey. For example, quick, swift, hasty, late, etc. are all adjectives that mean very fast. Likewise, contented, cheerful, merry, joyful, ecstatic, delighted are all words that describe different degrees of happiness. There is also another concept that you should know. There is a particular order in which you should place adjectives when you are using two or more adjectives to describe the same subject or object. Check out the order of adjectives to learn more. Next slide. So here are some examples of adjectives. There are polite, easygoing, elegant, fresh, furious, angry, cruel, bold, dramatic, crazy, energetic, gentle, coward, charming, lonely, sweet, hardworking, fancy, faithful, hot, creative, fair, lovely, adorable, careful, awesome, disciplined, groovy, and many more. And the last slide, the next slide. So these are the exercise of adjectives. Identify the adjectives in the following sentence. For number one, I bought the red dress for the wedding. So the adjectives of this sentence is red that describe the dress that 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 I or both for the wedding. Number two, the food is delicious is the adjectives is delicious. So the word delicious describe the food. For number three, my brother is naughty. The adjectives for this sentence is naughty that describe his personality of my brother. Oh yeah. And the last slide.
Choose the
Asmi.
correct form of the adjective to complete the sentence. This blank movie is movie I have ever watched. The answer is D, the best. The reason is because there's a word I have ever watched, which means this is a superlative degree of comparison.
Oh, for the last question, Ali is blank than his sister. A taller, B tall, C tallest, D the tallest. The question is kind of a comparative degree because it's compare two things. So the correct answer is A taller.
So that's our presentation today. For the conclusion is, for the definitions of adjective, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, an adjective is defined as a word that describes a noun or pronoun. The Oxford Learners Dictionary defines an adjective as a word that describes a person or thing. For example, big, red, and clever in a big house, red wine, and a clever idea. There's a degree of comparison too, such as positive degree of comparison, comparative degree of comparison, and superlative degree of comparison. There's also an examples of adjective, like adjective as complements, adjective as coordinates, and multifunctional adjective. So how to use an adjective in a sentence itself is like there is a particular order in which you should place adjective when you are using two or more adjectives to describe the same subject or object. There's an example of adjective two and the exercise. So there's our presentation for today. I'm sorry if there are any mistakes, and thank you.